On today's Fun Friday show, I'd be joined by a special guest and friend, my guy Peyton, to talk about Mr. AJ Preller, not just the trade deadline, but specifically the all AJ Preller trade team, all the players over the years, and whether or not it's a roster that could potentially win the World Series, and other general thoughts about the Padres going forward. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Padres, your daily San Diego Padres podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to an edition of Locked On Padres podcast, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day for Friday, August 8th. As always, I'm your host with sometimes the most, Javier Reyes, and I've been covering the team for almost 6 years now, not just for this podcast, but also various other outlets, including justbaseball.com, chief among them. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Go check that out, and be sure to check me out on the socials at Javipedio, JAVIIPENO, Twitter/X, and Blue Sky. And be sure to check out my guests. It's a Fun Friday show, guys. You know I love having guests on the Fun Fridays. My guy, Peyton Ginas. You may know him from TikTok at Big League Analysis on
there you
TikTok.
Go,
I struggled for a second. I was like, oh no! Big League Analysis. And you can also check him out at Just Baseball, where he does some content for them as well, mainly in the video editing department. Peyton, my man, how are you doing?
Doing well, man. Very excited. I've been very excited for this. You know, I did a little piece on this back, like a month or two ago, but just a really fascinating rabbit hole to dive down with Preller, because he's obviously has the reputation as the rock star GM. He's a madman, all the memes, But I think at the core of it is something more interesting, and that is the Padres' ability to just get talent in the building, whether what they do with them after, whatever. But the amount of talent that has gone through the San Diego organization is truly absurd.
It really is. And I think that most people have finally come around to the fact that he's just like the best scout at this point in the game. I just think you have to, considering the amount of trades they've made and the fact that I'm pretty sure over the last 6 years, they've somehow had more top 100 prospects than like the A's. Now, granted, everybody's better than the A's for a bunch of reasons, but the A's, like, all they've done is trade away guys, and yet I'm pretty sure the Padres have had better prospects of them, and they're not just the A's. There's a bunch of other teams that are in there as well, but it's really fun. You did a video on this talking about the all traded by AJ Preller team, and look, let me tell Padres fans first, we're not mocking our guy. No. Let me be very clear, and you mentioned this in your video as well. We're not insulting Mr. AJ Preller. In fact, I think that he really deserves a lot of credit as being one of the premier GMs in the league, not just because of the trades, not just because of, the money that they spend on certain free agents, but also just the way they just rapidly regenerate, like their Wolverine, their farm system. Like they really come back over and over, and it's really a lot of fun. But some of these are hilarious. Like genuinely, some of the positions. You actually texted me before we did this video, before you did the video on TikTok a while ago, and you were like, "What are some players?" that we were like laughing at, like just remembering certain ones that have happened. And there's been a lot. We're going to talk about today, guys, that as well, and we're also going to talk about Leo De Vries and whether or not is he eventually. What does Peyton think? Is there a chance he makes it onto the All Preller team 4 or 5 years from now? We'll have to see, and then talk a little bit about general Padres playoff stuff. Peyton is a Yankees fan, for those who are curious. So little mask off situation there.
I know. Dude, I was rocking the hat. I was trying to get through, but
it's whatever. He's a Yankees fan, but quite simply one of the most mellow, I think, Yankees fans that I know. Honestly, he's just like, yeah, I mean, this and that. Received. Not super negative, not super positive. He's just a lover of the game. You know what I mean?
So ball lover. Pause. Oh.
Let's ignore that real quick and move on to the all Preller team, everybody. Peyton, tell us who you've got from first base all the way to the relief pitching. Let's get to it, man.
Okay, so obviously, there's I think 2 of these majorly come with some caveats, which I think we'll get into when we break it down. But the traded by AJ Preller team, at first base, we have Josh Naylor. Second base, out of position a bit, is CJ Abrams. Shortstop, Trea Turner. Third baseman, this is a big caveat, we'll talk about it, is Austin Riley. Catcher, Austin Hedges. Outfield 1, James Wood. Outfield 2, Juan Soto. Outfield 3, Trent Grisham. DH,
Yeah.
Brent Rooker. Starting pitcher, Max Fried, Luis Castillo, another caveat, Mackenzie Gore, Zach Eflin, Cal Quantrill, and then the bullpen, fun one, Emmanuel Clase, Andres Munoz, Matt Brash, David Bednar, and I want another lefty, so I threw in Ryan Weathers.
This is, I mean, first of all, there's so many funny names out here. First of all, I think that Grisham being on here, and for those who maybe aren't paying attention this year, like you're more locked in NL Central and NL West and all that sort of stuff. Trent Grisham genuinely very good this year and is probably going to get paid at some point because of this. And what's funny about Grisham is he became not the most hated Padre. He definitely wasn't the most hated. It was just very perplexing as to why he couldn't hit above 200 for so long. Like this was like 3 straight years, including, by the way, 1 year with the Yankees. But this year, Trent Grisham's got 2 wins above replacement. He's got a 129 WRC plus. Like, I don't know where it came from. This is kind of what they asked for all these years. Obviously, they have Jackson Merrill now in center, which is pretty cool. But Grisham, man, what a fun, like a late addition buzzer beater to the list.
A funny bit with Grisham though, this year especially, is the fact that his defense this year isn't great.
Yeah, right.
Like he was dealing with a lower body thing, so like that's definitely something to consider. But it's like his defense isn't that great this year, but he is just pulverizing baseballs. Yeah. And I mean, it's not like he's kind of always not always. I think maybe always is an exaggeration, but he's had it in the tank to hit baseballs very well. It's just very inconsistent, not at great angles and whatever. But like he had the power in the tank, and I guess a pair of different eyes on him in New York was help, and maybe more consistent playing time or whatever helped him unlock that a bit more.
Yeah, and this is just sometimes what happens. Sometimes guys just won't do well at a certain place. Obviously there's the cliches for every time the Dodgers sign anybody, everyone expects them to be great. But for the most part, it just depends. I mean, Padres fans were getting tired of just the Grisham dribbler to first base. Yes. You know what I mean? And then he still does that a little bit with the Yankees, but he tapped into that pull power, it looks like, big time with them. But, man, this is quite the list, and we're going to break it down, guys, because I personally, my favorite person on here, I think, is Trea Turner. And the reason he's my favorite is because I think it was a great trade. I think A.J. Preller simply saw into the future, and he knew, I'm going to be drafting C.J. Abrams. So why not just get a free Will Myers? And then in 6 years, I'm going to get Trea Turner back in the form of C.J. Abrams.
Say one thing I will say about that trade is that, like, I think it's crazy that you could lose a trade where you acquire a guy who is like an all-time like leader for you in like some categories, or like like, higher on those leaderboards. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
good vibes guy too. Yeah.
Will Myers has like a lot of homers, for like a Padre, like in a Padres uniform. Do you know where he ranks?
I don't know where he was. I think he was like 5th or 6th or something.
Like it was high. He was high, right? And like
he was pretty high.
And then
he became the star for a little bit.
And he was he wasn't like
he was okay. He was good.
He had some good seasons.
2020 Myers though was
2020 Myers is generational.
Was the rapture. I couldn't believe what I was watching. It's just incredible.
But
we're going to talk about more of those incredible players in just a second, guys. But first, a word from one of our sponsors. And that sponsor, ladies and gentlemen, if you've ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family, maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands, that's exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Game Time makes all of it possible. They make buying tickets fast and simple, of course, but prices on the app, even more importantly, they actually drop the closer you get to first pitch. And they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of bullying. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB, making it easy to browse the app for an exciting upcoming MLB game. Perhaps my hated, both of our hated, Red Sox, Padres, we'll have an alliance this weekend for sure. But overall, guys, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. But again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed with Game Time. And just like that, everybody, we are back, thriving and vibing here on segment number 2 of the Locked On Padres podcast. Again, you can follow me on Twitter/X and Blue Sky at Javipeno, JAVIIPENO. Peyton, tell them your handle real quick on Twitter. Is it still Big League Analysis there?
Oh, I couldn't get it. So it's Baseball with Peyton, but it's
Baseball with Peyton, right?
BSBL. I know it was rough. I couldn't get it.
Hey, it happens. You're not the only one I know that had to change it to BSBL, by the way. I don't know what happens with that. I don't know. Interesting. A lot of ball knowers and appreciators. Appreciators in this world of ours and country. What can I say? Moving on, though, the rest of the list. I feel like there are some here that are worse than others. Juan Soto is the one that I think 10 years from now, the aggregators are going to be like, remember when the Padres trade? Yeah, it's not great. James Wood, CJ Abrams, Mackenzie Gore, all of them. And then we still have to see if Jarlin Susano becomes something. Robert Hassel, though, Preller W. Seems like he sold high on him. But overall, that one I think is going to be forgotten that they did basically turn him into Michael King and Dylan Cease, which has been pretty good. And a good year of Kyle Higashioka and Randy Vasquez, who is a devil magician of the legs we haven't seen since the Kansas City Chiefs of the 2024
pretty much.
Season. What is another one on this list that you think is the most fun?
I think, but before we move off the Soto point, I will say something I want to add is I think one of the bits of pushback I got on this list originally was having Soto, Wood, Grisham, and all those guys in the same list because those trades weren't possible. Not one. It's like because that's the trickle down effect, right? Yeah. But I just want to remind that the exercise wasn't necessarily that. The exercise was literally a team of guys Preller has called someone up and shipped, regardless of the before. And that's a very reasonable critique, but that just wasn't the exercise that we were doing. But just like you said, I think in context, it did kind of make sense. Like the Padres were only, 2 games away from an actual World Series, 3 games away. I think they lost in 5, maybe 6. But it made sense at the moment to buy high on a guy like Soto. But to answer your question, I think the most fun one, especially with recent, news, is Emmanuel Clase.
Oh my God, yeah.
Padres,
I didn't even think of that.
I
was just thinking that he was having a bad year. I forgot about the other thing.
No. His year actually isn't even bad anymore. He just, was betting, I guess, or involved in betting. First dude to maybe ever have
got better. Okay. Yeah.
Dude, I think might be one of the first dudes to ever have a PED suspension and a gambling suspension. He's generational. He's like Shohei, but for suspensions. But he was signed by the Padres as an amateur free agent in the Preller era, and then was dealt to the Rangers. That's a key point there for Brett Nicholas, who, I'll be honest with you, I don't know who that is. And I might not be a ball appreciator, but I don't know who that is. And he was obviously flipped to the Guardians later in the Corey Kluber deal. Kluber only threw a pitch for the Rangers and got hurt. But the interesting thing there is the Padres have a ridiculous bullpen already. Obviously, if he was still there, that wouldn't have been the case. They wouldn't have gone out and got some other dudes, the trickle down of that. But it's crazy to think that, this one of the best bullpens ever assembled right now also could have had a generational closer, hypothetically.
Speaking of Corey Kluber, do you think he was a little bit of a honorable mention potentially as part of this list?
So I'm pretty sure he was dealt right before.
It was right before, right?
I think he was traded before the Preller era. I think Preller signed on with the team.
It was an omen. They said, "Get ready to learn crazy trades, Padres."
Yeah, because I think the first trade of the Preller era is the Grandal Kemp situation, maybe, or maybe I think it's Yasmani Grandal and Matt Kemp. That whole thing.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the first ones, or maybe actually it might have been the Trea Turner. Maybe I think
Trea
it's all around the
Turner,
same time.
Justin Upton,
Yeah.
and Kimbrel, and then Shields. I forgot how that. No, Shields was a signing. I'm pretty sure. But anyway,
So
go ahead.
speaking of that, because that's a key point. Craig Kimbrel. Now this is
Yeah.
this is the one that I think was a bit cheating, but I kind of wanted to include this because I think it's just interesting to talk about. Is that when the Padres traded for Kimbrel, they dealt a compensation pick to the Braves, and that ended up being Austin Riley. So that's why that one is definitely cheap. I acknowledge that. It was more because I wanted to share that story that they traded.
It's just fun. Yeah,
yeah,
it's just
because again, because this wasn't a hit piece on Preller. It was like I was trying I think it's a really interesting thing. I don't think people know is that when the Braves traded Kimbrel, who was like a very face of their franchise at the time, they would get Austin Riley out of it basically, which is really fascinating.
Yeah,
but, yeah,
absolutely. Great player, great all-star player. And Luis Castillo, let's talk about him really quickly. The other asterisk weird one that we mental gymnastics our way.
So I'm gonna pull it up just because I want to get the.
It's really funny.
I want to get. I want to know what actually happened. I want to perfectly explain what happened.
It was an injury rescinded, basically.
Yes.
For those who don't remember, Preller maybe misled about certain injuries. This is back in 2015,
he got suspended for that.
Yeah, he got suspended.
Month. Yes, or maybe it was multiple things. Yeah, he was.
GM, I got suspended. Could you imagine? How do GMs get suspended?
So the full trade is that the Miami Marlins in 2016 we traded Luis Castillo, Carter Capps, and Josh Naylor to the Padres for Andrew Cashner, Tyrone Guerrero, and Colin Ray. That was July 29th. On August 1st, the Padres traded Luis Castillo back to the Marlins for Colin Ray, who they traded for Luis Castillo. And it turned out because there was some Preller lied about some medicals.
I didn't even think of this. What GMs have ever gotten suspended? When does that even? How do you?
The thing is, I think that's happened, but I don't think like that. He literally, I'm to think about this. He Colin Ray threw in one game for the Marlins, immediately blew out.
Yeah,
and then they were like, "Yo," they did the X-rays. He was cooked.
Yeah,
and then. No, Preller tried pulling a fast one and it backfired. And
New GM said, "Wait, you guys haven't tried simply lying to the other team and get an asset back? Why hasn't anyone thought of this before?" And then he realized, "Oh, wait, crap, I guess you can't do that." I love this man so much.
But that deal did, regardless of everything, did get them Josh Naylor, who was eventually dealt in a weirdly massive trade.
Yeah,
that was circled around Mike Clevenger, who obviously is.
It was him. It was a couple relievers. It was
Cantillo. It was Hedges. Owen Miller. Gabriel Arias,
who had a big home run against the Mets the other day.
Yes, he did.
An absolute moonshot. Yeah.
And another funny bit with the Clevenger trade is, do you know what other San Diego Padres quad A pitcher that landed you?
Who's that?
Mr. Waldron.
Oh yeah, that's right. We love Mr. Waldron.
I'm big Matt Waldron guy. We
love Waldron. Pat Mahomes, best quarterback in the league, is a big Matt Waldron guy.
Has to be.
We're both big Leo De Vries guys. And we're going to talk about in just a second whether or not he may end up on this list in the future, as well as the outlook for the Padres heading into the playoffs in just 1 second. But first, I got to tell you guys about Prize Picks, because we love Prize Picks. This episode is brought to you by them, after all, the daily fantasy platform that lets you turn your football predictions into real rewards. Preseason is already heating up, and college football isn't far behind either. It's the perfect time to lock in your season-long, more or less picks for the 2025 football season, all before week 1 kicks off. Whether you've got your eye on big-name quarterbacks or breakout running backs, Prize Picks makes it easy to get in the game. And again, they just give you an over-under. You pick more or less. You got to get 4 right. It's great. They got a flex play as well. It's a total game changer. Even one of your picks misses, you still double your earnings. Download the Prize Pick app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks, run your game. And just like that, everybody, back here on the Locked On Padres podcast, thriving and vibing, some may say, talking about our king AJ Preller and all the trades that he's made over the years. I'm Javier, this is Peyton, and we are having a lovely Friday, I think. And we got to talk about Leo De Vries now. Bring it back to current, right? Everybody go check out Peyton on TikTok if you want more great baseball analysis and fun little bits like this, I really think. Leo De Vries, how do you feel about him? What do you think are the chances? Do you think that people are being a little bit too hyperbolic? You think everyone's like, you know what? That kid's a scrub. Just give him 2 years and he's going to be nothing. Just like Robert Hassel and Preller, another W for AJ. What are you thinking about Leo De Vries?
I think the optics of the Soto trade now definitely play a part in that. Cause like, look, it's not age great. Obviously, you have James Wood is shining. CJ Abrams is shining, and De Vries could definitely be one of those guys. I think he's a high probability to be a very, very, very good Major League Baseball player. But I think at the end of the day, while that move could, bite the Padres in the behind, if he turns into something truly special, even if he is a superstar, maybe not less superstar, if he is a star and the Padres do get a ring, with big contributions from Mason Miller, in the context of what Padres fans and the Padres have been through, historically, I think they would just say that was worth it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think for me, the more interesting bit outside of De Vries is the fact that he wasn't the only prospect. I would have there's a few other dudes dealt, and I do like Net a lot. Like, I think he's very good, but I don't know.
Wilson Bateman, Cobb Hightower, they dealt everybody except for Ethan Salas. It's just Ethan Salas out here now, and that's it.
Yeah, there's a weird affinity for him. But it's interesting, and I think sure, would the Padres be a better team in 2029 if De Vries was still in the organization? Probably. By the end of the day, this core isn't getting any younger. This core isn't getting less expensive, and they put all the eggs in the basket. And like you said, they've made trades that have seemed catastrophic. We went over the list. Losing any one of those guys, you're on MLB meme pages for a decade. Losing Soto, losing Fried, or even a guy we talk about in Brent Rooker with guys with impact. Those seem catastrophic. But at the end of the day, now you can go Mason Miller, Jeremiah Estrada, Mohan, and Robert Suarez, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, Jason Adam.
Jason Adam.
It's a crazy pen, and I personally think this is just the classic wait and see. It's because he is 18. So, this might only be a relevant player. Literally, it could be 5 years before this guy's relevant. I don't think it'll be 5 years. It might maybe a little bit shorter, but it's possible. And on top of that, I think it's really, and we've said this a lot of time for my everydayers here, it's going to depend if the rumors, reports, the vibe, the hints that AJ Preller himself gave, if they turn Mason Miller into a starter. I think this move changes completely the paradigm of how everybody feels about it.
That's a very big aspect of it too, but it's also, again, the Padres have been very transparent about the fact that they're trying to win a championship.
Yeah.
De Vries, while an incredible talent, doesn't fit into that scheme. By the time De Vries is a big league star, if that happens, Machado's not going to be Machado anymore. Tatis probably will be Tatis still, but he's going to be a lot older. Bogarts, God knows where he's going to be by 2020, 2030. I love, we're Bogarts fans here.
That's 150 WRC plus over his
last we're
30
Bogarts fans.
Summer.
It's been Brett Summer was last year. It's Xander Summer.
It's
2025
Xander
is
now.
Xander Summer.
We're on the Xans, man. I agree.
Yeah, I'm a big Xan guy. But they've been very transparent. We're trying to win a championship. De Vries is not really fitting into that. And while it'd be awesome to have a star of your future, Mason Miller helps you win that championship now.
Absolutely, man. It's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. Obviously, I think that with the Pods, it's just such a funny move. It's such a funny team. I think that with De Vries, what you mentioned about the length, I think that's one reason the Soto trade gets a little bit more mocked, is because those guys were And you also knew they were going to be ready. You knew they were going to be ready now.
Closer proximity.
So my thing back in that deadline, I was a little bit on the record being like, I'll obviously be thrilled if this happens, but they don't need to do this. I don't think that this is a team that needed a superstar like that. But I think that's the big thing is Abrams was already ready, right? Mackenzie Gore was, at least he had a pretty decent fastball to start. And looking like that number 1 overall pitching prospect that he was at once, and then he fell off and he vanished for like 3 months. Remember that whole weird like arc he had? That was very bizarre. But last thing before I let you go, man, overall playoff vibe, predictions of anything in the National League West, frankly, including the Padres. What are you feeling? You have your Padres hat on, locked in. Tell us, are you going to give the people some good news or bad news? I don't care either way.
You know, it's funny. I even though the division feels a lot further than 2 games away, I feel like, for the Padres. Not necessarily from an on the field perspective, more from like a narrative perspective. I don't know if that's like a Dodgers feel so inevitable thing, but the Padres are literally a series win over the Dodgers away from being tied for first place. And I mean, last summer was kind of like that too. I don't know if it necessarily got within 2, but they were really close last summer too. But I don't know. I think, but at the end of the day, I don't really think the division matters that much. I think it's more about what can this team do in October. And if it wasn't for a historic offensive drought, this team could have won a World Series, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Because I think they beat the Mets, and I think they probably would have beat the Yankees too. So
that would be crazy.
So you add
Soto versus the Pods. Oh my God.
Like the thing is, you add a Mason Miller to this. You add Laureano, who's, by the way, 900 OPS. Laureano.
Yeah. That's O'Hearn, game tying O'Hearn.
Listen, these are like
Freddie for Krueger for me. Oh man.
He's almost Freddie Freeman. They have Freddie Freeman. We have Freddie Fermin.
Yeah, it's close enough. As far as I'm concerned, close enough.
But that's the thing. It's like this team is better than it was last year for the most part.
I think now it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they don't have Musgrove. They don't have a couple things. I don't think they have but I think they remind me so much of what that team was last year. I said this on the show before, but it feels like they got their Donovan Solano, Jerkson Profar, and Kyle Higashioka back.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like in the form of Laureano, O'Hearn, and Freddie Fermin. And then you have the rotation. This year, you lose Musgrove, but you got Nick Pivetta, which was one of the best signings of the offseason. They could go somewhere, man. And I'm not particularly scared of the Reds catching up on them. I think at best they can be the 3rd wild card spot, but it's going to be interesting, man. And the lamestream media doesn't want you to know this, right? The lamestream media doesn't want you to know that everybody is rooting for the Pods. Everyone loves them except for the Dodgers fans, right?
I think I'd power rank them in terms of winning the NL pennant. I think I have them 3. I like it. I think that's maybe gut check.
Dodgers, man. There's something about they feel weak. They don't feel. This is like My Hero Academia with All Might. If anybody's ever seen that, like you could tell he's not quite the same. There's something off, and maybe this is based a lot on Mookie Betts and whatnot, which we talked about on the show. But either way, man. Any final thoughts before we let you go?
I mean, I think at the end of the day, I think we have to acknowledge that AJ Preller is just the most ethical GM in the game, and I think he's great for the game. And if we can clone AJ Preller, the sport would be in a better place. And
the NBA trade deadline every other day.
Just like we talked about, me and Javi are going to be working on a mockumentary in the style of the movie Pop Star, if you've ever seen it, where it's based around a GM who is it's a fictional version of AJ Preller, and it's going to be a masterpiece.
We'll just do a sequel to Draft Day. Either way, I think we'll be thrilled. And on that note, everybody, thank you for listening to today's edition of the Locked On Padres podcast, the only pod that may be better than the Padres themselves. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from. Go follow Peyton on TikTok, Big League Analysis, where he does videos all the time, frankly. And he likes saying, let's talk about it as his big catchphrase. So there you go. It's good stuff. Yeah. Everybody go check that out. And check me out on Twitter/X at Javipeno, JAVIIPENO, and Blue Sky. Feel free to reach out in there. Leave some YouTube comments. We'll be answering your questions on the Monday mailbag episode. As always, let's beat the crap out of the evil Boston Empire. Not even Empire, just evil. I'm not even. They don't have the right to be called Empire. Boston, evil for the world. We both agree on this. But until that next time, everybody, stay safe and of course, stay faithful. My Friar Faithful homies, take care.